We started
that's
promoting
right. Me
y'all
Too movement.
and giving y'all diversity, equity, and inclusion, and giving y'all positions based off of the fact that y'all was women, and we had to balance out the power dynamics to make y'all happy. I wish people would just tell the truth. I just wish y'all would just go back to the
So
kitchen.
now we learn.
Yeah, I just
It's
honestly
okay.
wish y'all would just go back to the kitchen. Life was so much better. Y'all was barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Y'all
That's
messed up
even though
everything.
he's
Y'all messed
talking
up our
about
movies. Fucked up the
Listen,
movies.
look,
Fucked up
don't even
corporate
go there,
America.
Anton.
Do y'all realize how
Yo,
toxic y'all are?
we were taught and we were raised on father, mother, children, family. Now the family has been redesigned.
Dr. Julia, what do you like? What are you a doctor of?
Education, leadership.
Would you prefer to go back to that and not be a doctor of education if that's better?
We began to get the mindset that we can take the place of the man.
Okay.
If
got
we
her.
could lead
What you
the
gonna say to
home,
that?
because I thought I was the boss of the home,
Okay.
but no, I wasn't.
Talk about her effing her way to the top. But if that's the case, Anton, if we're worried about her Me Tooing, right? There's a reason why they have the no. No, that does matter because there's a reason there's no fraternization because of women like her. So if the human resource chief,
Because y'all got jealous. Because y'all got jealous. Y'all got jealous.
That's because of other women.
Anton, let's say this situation didn't happen, right?
That was
And let's say she didn't get caught. Let's say something happened and she got fired. Now she can say, well, the CEO, we were having an affair. She can come back and say all this bullcrap and put it on him. There's a reason why we have these things in place. So both of them cross the line.
Right, but people
Well,
don't
that's the
follow
reason why
rules
we were
anyway.
but again, take your L. If you get fired, you get fired. It is what it is. But the point is that
Like
y'all listen, no men, nowhere ever was complaining and saying no fraternizing with the employees. You never heard that from a man. You never seen him advocate against it. You never seen him marching for it. You never seen men saying it.
That's because
because they benefit from it.
No.
How do we benefit from fraternizing? It's just guys being guys, Jazz. I haven't reacted to one of these panels in a while. I haven't reacted to Jazz being one of these panels. But I pray that she's authentic and not disingenuous. But guys just being guys, that's just what we do since we kids, and it goes into our adulthood.
Y'all said we. And when you said we, you said this is the reason why. We said that. We never said nothing. We understood the game. We also understood that women got an unfair advantage a lot of times, but we didn't trip about it because we just that's it's just the way that it is. Women got an unfair advantage in this way, men got unfair advantages in this way. That's the way that it is. We didn't trip. Women got mad because they wasn't the ones getting chose or they wasn't the ones that was getting fucked and getting the opportunities. And so women got mad at other women that was moving up. And so a lot of times y'all wouldn't even know for sure, but you would automatically assume the women that was moving up because they was pretty and they was gorgeous and the guys chose them the same way that they do in real life and relationships and everything else, that they was moving up and y'all automatically got mad at it and y'all said no fraternization with the employees. That's what really happened.
Yeah, that's the hater mentality, because regardless whether a woman is sleeping around or not, you're gonna have other women that's gonna see that and automatically think that she possibly is, even if she ain't. If they see other women moving up or they see them around like the boss or the big man, they automatically gonna think, oh, she effing him to move up. That's not always the case. So really, as women probably keeping each other back in the workplace.
Men controlled everything. Listen, this no fraternization thing is newer. This is a newer concept. When men were in power and men was in control in the majority of the positions in corporate America, especially the highest levels, when it was the good old boys club, nobody was tripping. Everything was good. We all had a good time. Nobody got fired and everybody got a bag.
When did that start? When did it start?
And we had to put in rules in order to accommodate a bunch of women that came into the workplace
because
that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place.
I will say this though, I got to give Anton a little bit of pushback because the good old boy system can be problematic sometimes when it comes down to getting your friends in instead of getting the people that's actually qualified for the job. I have seen that a lot of the time. So sometimes the good old boy system ain't always the best system.
When did it start becoming a problem? What specific incident happened that started this Me Too? Anybody remember?
We started
that's
promoting
right. Me
y'all
Too movement.
and giving y'all diversity, equity, and inclusion, and giving y'all positions based off of the fact that y'all was women, and we had to balance out the power dynamics to make y'all happy, and we let y'all go.
Obama is.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it make more sense though? Like
Yeah,
for
I got it. Okay, yeah.
for a
That
company-
administration, Teddy, that
I
administration.
believe so.
It was before
That had a
Obama.
big part to
No,
do.
it was way before Obama. It was way before Obama.
It's
It's
not
the
Obama
80s and
problem.
90s. Obama was the final nail in the coffin.
I think that a lot of these cases can be avoided with the Me Too thing if people don't promote this type of culture within the workplace. If you're like promoting like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep with all the accountants and the assistants, you're putting yourself at risk to get Me Too.
Nobody
Because
does that.
this is an opportunity for somebody that's below you on the totem pole and at your job to get you in a vulnerable position, and if you one false move, you don't do something she could go ahead and lie on you. So why even put yourself in a position just because you want to have access to all these women and risk the Me Too allegation? You know what I mean? Like you can prevent this by not fraternizing, and I think they put fraternization in place in the corporate sector and in just jobs in general to avoid stuff like this, to avoid these HR problems.
I gotta say this real quick. Me being in the aviation industry, slightly corporate world, it's women the ones that get away with this more than men do. Women are the ones that's fraternizing with the guys in a provocative way. I'm just being honest. Women are able to push themselves, touch a little bit more, get closer to people. Nobody says anything, but it's not the guys. It's the women. Women are a lot of the ones that are initiating some of these sexual encounters, to where they're pushing up and putting the guys in precarious situations, to where it's like, should I do this? Should I not do it?
And then a lot of times, I think an issue was that a lot of these women, they were being, I wouldn't say essayed on the job, but like a lot of like aggressive, like sexual innuendos. It was making women in the workplace uncomfortable. And so I think that is what have started the fraternization as well, when they're just trying to go to work and the men in the workplace are looking, saying things about their bodies or brushing up on against them and doing weird stuff. So this protects people.
Is it Me Too when the roles are reversed? Is it Me Too when the roles are reversed?
Absolutely, it is.
No, it's not.
Nobody should be touched.
Because the guys, we ain't gonna say nothing about it. We just gonna.
Well, they should.
Yeah, that's not our fault. Y'all should speak
right.
up.
That's your fault. You should absolutely say something. Nobody should be violated.
Man, a guy being a guy, we don't get a lot of attention like that. So it is what it is. If a woman start groping us and touching on us in inappropriate areas, we most likely gonna go with the flow, because like, oh damn, she like. See, they don't even live the same life we live. That's why they can't be in the workplace normal like we can, because we understand if a woman start touching up on us, damn, we get an opportunity. The wrong dude touch on them, oh my God, I feel sexually assaulted. It's definitely not the same.
Just go honestly, like
no one should violate me.
I wish people would just tell the truth. I just wish y'all would just go back to the kitchen.
So now we lying.
Oh damn.
Lying about what? Though?
What are we lying about?
I just honestly wish y'all would just go back to the kitchen. Life was so much better when y'all was barefoot pregnant. When y'all was barefoot pregnant and in the kitchen. Now we gotta accommodate you. Now we gotta make sure that you.
Because we're women and we're human beings.
They want to. They don't want to pay no bills.
You know how many training modules I've had to go through because of y'all? That we have to make sure that we don't do microaggressions and all of this other that y'all brought into the workplace. Why don't y'all just go home? Go home.
The government brought out of the home specifically for that. If you think about it, they were taxing one adult per household. Taking the woman out of the household meant more money. You can tax a household twice if you can tax the two adults.
Nobody give a
fuck. Life
is better. Life is better.
My question is this:
nobody likes the way that Anton said that. However, that's
y'all mess up everything.
He's
Y'all messed up our movies.
The establishment of the family.
Our movies is. Did you see that new Ironheart movie? Did you see that piece of shit? Y'all up. You ever seen
No, but
Captain
one of my
Marvel?
good friends.
The movies.
Look, don't even go there, Anton.
Do y'all realize how
Yo.
toxic y'all are? How many training modules we got to take in order to make sure? Just because y'all
Whoa.
coming in, did you know
Marvel.
that the cost of onboarding a female employee is more than the cost of onboarding a male employee? So we got to create all of this around y'all to make y'all happy. Don't y'all realize that now that we got merit-based policy instead of it being diversity, equity, inclusion, that all of y'all are the ones that's losing y'all jobs because we never needed y'all in the first place? And so y'all took up billions and billions of dollars of resources in our universities, took up billions of dollars in corporate America. Like, honestly, do y'all realize that we have changed society, everything to accommodate y'all?
That is true.
I think society should accommodate both humans that are in that society, whether it's male or female. It shouldn't be more accommodations based on gender. If these things work for individuals as human beings, as an individual single person, I should be able to have access to make my own money. I should be have access to go to work. I should be access to go to school. I should have access to just live my life under my own autonomy.
I don't understand how Jazz don't understand how biology is made up to where you have man and woman. Man is here to protect woman. Woman is here to be a helpmate to men. You can't sit right here and tell me that you don't see the world being structured to protect women. We do it on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't understand why a lot of women feel like, yeah, you can have an existence, you just live normal lives like us. It don't work like that. We're here for each other. We're meant to be around each other. We're made for each other.
Just like anybody else should. It shouldn't be gender specific. Why do men feel like the only way they can feel like men is if they're up over a woman? And then on top of that,
he's not saying what he's really saying.
Well, let me finish real quick. And the last thing I want to say, because I hear men often say women back in the day, y'all were happier back then. Y'all were in there back then. If that was the case, then why did the feminist movement even start from the beginning? Why did so many women fight to get out of those situations so they can get away from their abusive husbands or just be able to have autonomy? If it was so great, why did we fight against it?
That the white women were the ones that was getting abused.
If it's so great, why were they fighting against it?
The white women.
Listen. Hold on. I got you.
But why were the white women fighting against it? If it was so great,
if it was so great, why did they fight? But think about what you're saying, Jazz. You can't say why is something so great because that's why people advocated for it or against it. People advocated for men using women's restrooms. People advocated for men being able to compete in women's sports. Just because people advocate for something does not mean that the previous thing that we had wasn't good or that it wasn't working. So you can't use that as a part of your argument in order to justify why y'all decided to break up y'all households. If it was so great what y'all advocated for, then why are we worse off as a community than we ever were? Why do we have so many parentless child households where you got more single mothers in the Black community than ever before, where we didn't have that? Why do you have women that are more overweight than they ever have before, coming from living a lifestyle where they're trying to compete for men? So you can say a lot of this stuff, but it doesn't necessarily translate and hit the way that you think that it is, because just because you advocate for something. Listen, my daughter advocated for only eating candy for goddamn dinner every night. It didn't mean that it was good for her.
Okay, so what is wrong?
It was good for her.
See, but Jazz to ask that question to say that, why did women run from their husbands back in the 60s and 50s? Are they in a better situation now? What did they run from? What did they run into? I think that's the better question. Because and we talking about, we got a separation here. We got white families and we got Black families. Black families were married at a high rate. They weren't getting divorced. So why did Black women join onto the feminist movement? Broken homes, single moms, single grandmothers. We wonder why we're in the situation we're in, and she doesn't look at it from that lens. She only looks at it as to, we ran away from the dudes because they was bad. They was beating us. They was making us be slaves. She's looking at it from that perspective. You can't do that, because look at where you're at now. The outcome and the alternative is not better though.
Okay, but how is it?
No, you're gonna eat some vegetables, and you're gonna make sure you finish them vegetables before you get up from this table. And as she cried, she was chewing on that goddamn spinach, and she's better off as a result
Okay,
of it.
but
So
Anton,
just
I'm
because
not.
you advocate for something, don't mean that it makes sense.
But
True.
what sense does it not make for a woman to have autonomy over her own life? For
Mm.
a woman to be able to make decisions for herself, for a woman to be able to have access to her own money. Why is that so senseless? How is that harming?
That
Do you
wasn't
not
the
see the
original
community?
design.
Do
That
you not
wasn't
see
the
the
original
community?
design. And what Anton is
It was
describing is the
okay.
traditional family in
Correct.
which
Okay.
we were.
Show some respect to your elders, Jazz. Come on now. We got a Dr. Julia. She came from a certain era and time period that is well before yours. Please show some respect.
We were taught and we were raised on father, mother, children, family. Now the family has been redesigned. Then in the 1960s is when they began, the Democrats made a deal. Malcolm X talks about that in his speech. And that promoted a lot of us moving to the Republican Party, getting all these things, the welfare,
Women's rights.
the WIC, and all of these things. And it separated the family. It separated
Women's rights
And it
separated
made
the family.
Yes,
Well,
and it
well,
made
well,
us
it's
weaker.
been by Democrat,
Democrat, not Republican.
but that was not the original design.
So
And
let me
some
ask you this, Dr.
And
Julia, what type of what are you a doctor of?
education, leadership.
Okay. If we were to go, what would you prefer to be in an era where you could not pursue the field that you're pursuing? If that was better for you, would you prefer not to be a doctor and be in education and leadership? If that time was better, where women couldn't become who you are right now, and you're saying that's better, would you prefer to go back to that and not be a doctor of education? If that's better?
Women always taught.
women were teachers. What are you
I
talking
was
about?
Yeah.
Kamara. I was talking to Miss Julia. Thank you though.
Damn.
Yeah,
bro,
so
that's
I
crazy.
started off, as she said, as a teacher. However, in the marriage form, when you're getting married, and
Let me say this before Miss Julia Cook. I don't understand why women think back in the day women didn't teach anybody, or women taught the children. Women sent the next generation out there to grow in society. I don't know why people think like women were just all pregnant, barefoot, and just being a slave to their husband. That's not the case. And women did so much back in the day beyond just being able to go in and clock in at a job.
the time that we had, we were allowed to go to college. During that time, some of the women went to college. They went to teacher colleges. They got doctorates. Even Madam C.J. Walker became a millionaire. So we were afforded those opportunities. The thing that happened was we began to get the mindset that we can take the place of the man.
Okay.
If we could lead
What you
the
gonna
home.
say to that, Jazz?
And even personally, I had to realize that, because I thought I was the boss of the home.
Okay.
But no, I wasn't. I had to decrease and increase if I wanted to walk a straight path in who I believe. So
Okay.
that's what.
Do you think if they removed all of our rights today, the world would be better off? If they stripped you of your leadership
That's
role
such
as a
extreme.
doctor, leading in education, if we were stripped of everything that we have accomplished today, and tomorrow we could do nothing but depend on men, would you be happy with that? Do you think the world would be happier in that way?
You already do it.
I think it shifted. I don't think our rights were. We gained the rights, right?
But if they took them away, because they're saying like
we can exercise.
No, nobody's saying take rights.
they're saying like women's rights ruined the community.
One mic.
No.
Y'all said women's rights ruined the family.
No, women getting out work.
Being able to go to work.
Now what I said.
Women getting in the work.
Women's rights does not supersede the head of the house.
Hold on,
Period.
let me just
women's rights.
wait, because we're creating a false
Slow
narrative,
down.
and I want to make sure that we all on the same page. Because in order for us to have this discussion, we all got to be on the same page. I'm not saying that women shouldn't be educated. I'm not saying that women shouldn't be able to do what they want to do. What I'm saying is that we should not make special adjustments to accommodate you for doing what you want to do. We should not have to create an environment where we make you comfortable where we already existing. If you come into a space and you want to compete, then you should have to compete at the same rate, or you got to go home and go and raise your kids and be a stay-at-home wife, because we don't have the option to be stay-at-home husbands. Right? We in general are expected to produce, and we have to be high producers, or else society is going to slot us and say, okay, you average, you below average, you above average, you are exceptional. So I think y'all should do whatever y'all want to do. What I'm saying is stop asking for special treatment, and we shouldn't have to change society in order to fit the narrative because you want to join into our spaces. You just gonna have to compete. That's all I'm saying.
No, okay, so when you say we shouldn't have.
Hey, do Teddy got a drive-through window in his living room? I'm just curious. I see a slide. It keep throwing me off every time I see it.
I would have to say the CEOs and businessmen understand that by accommodating whatever women's needs are, it's a benefit to them. That's why they do it. They do it because it's a benefit to them. To have more.
We don't. No, we don't. Really. That's why when they said that companies were no longer mandated in order to hire affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion, because they killed affirmative action first and then they killed diversity, equity, and inclusion many years later. That's why you seeing companies abandon that shit like wildfire. They immediately was like, yep, we going into a merit-based system, and because they no longer had to accommodate and they no longer had to meet expectations, depending on what state that they were in, to make sure that they were an equal opportunity and an equal employment place. They didn't have to do that no more. They didn't do it. We listen, for whatever reason, y'all think that we need y'all in the work. We don't need y'all like that.
Yes, you do.
The way that capitalism works is that the need is filled, either the need is filled or the market adjusts accordingly. So you go where you celebrate it. People move jobs based off. The reason why everybody migrated from the South to the North is because that's where all the jobs were.
Yep.
It wasn't that they was like, oh man, you know what? We need to create a space where we can create jobs for people in the North. No, they created cars. They created the assembly line. They realized that people can make way more money up North. And that's where it was up to 50,000 people that was moving up North per month. They were building whole train stations around what was happening in the market at that particular time. When it was the gold rush, everybody moved out west. That's how you started to populate what was happening over there. When they created the financial district over in New York, and everybody.
I want to just piece this in while he's still giving his spill. Women thinking that they're needed in the workplace, that's a fallacy, because a lot of these corporations, I'm in aviation, it's definitely more men than women. The women that are there, you have a lot of them that do possibly, you got a lot of female engineers, then you got a lot of HR type female people. But when it comes down to the ones actually building the plane, it's very few women, very few. And I hate to say this, a lot of the ones that do join the team to help build a plane, they're being helped by guys a lot of the time. The guys are helping them out constantly. They're trying to make it easier for them. They're literally kind of hanging on to the coattails of a lot of the guys on their teams.
Wanted to start to possibly create a whole new legacy for their family, and they moved over to Wall Street. That's what happened over there. They created banking to fill a need. They created homes in certain environments because it was to fill a need. They created schools in a certain environment in order to train up more employees. The way that the market works is that it adjusts to whatever the circumstance is, whatever the culture is. The fact that we had to create an entirely different culture in order to accommodate women is the reason why United States of America started to fall behind other countries and they started to be able to catch up. That is the truth.
I want to say this too.
I'm gonna leave it right there, man. Anton definitely cooked at that end point. It's really nothing else they can say to really try and combat what he said, because he's telling the truth. He's 100% right. Women aren't needed in the workplace. I hate to say it. Are they a benefit in situations? Yeah. Are women useful? For sure. Do you have a lot of intelligent women? Of course you do. But at the same time, that's like me saying that, man, I'm needed at the workplace. No, there's other guys that can fill my position and take my job immediately. They can do exactly what I can do. So I'm never going to sit right here and say that I'm just needed, because you're never just needed. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. But sometimes people feel like they're better than what they are. Some people feel like they deserve certain positions that they don't deserve. I don't want to never get that narcissist mentality where I just feel like, man, everything revolves around me. That's a dangerous way to think about it, because you will be blindsided constantly throughout your life if you think about it like that. just being honest, man. I think a lot of people can really understand and learn from that. Make sure y'all watch this in its entirety, man. And make sure y'all like the video, comment below. Let me get y'all thoughts on this segment because this was crazy. I thought Jazz was gonna turn up a little bit more. She kind of got a little disrespectful with Dr. Julia, but she kept it cool with it. But yeah, other than that, it was definitely it was definitely an intelligent conversation, hilarious as always. This is your guy JayBReacts, y'all. Until next time, peace.